Welcome to the Disney Parks Podcast, your Disney infotainment podcast. Keep your hands, arms, feet, and legs inside the podcast at all times and get ready for the Disney Parks Podcast.
All right. Hey, welcome to this week's show. We have a fun show. We are joined by Ry and Skyla Castles, the creative duo behind Sometime Castles. We'll talk about that in a minute. They are lifelong Disney fans and grew up making magical memories at the parks. Skylar, an influence marketing specialist and proud SoCal transplant, discovered her own Disney passion after moving west. Together, they built Sometime Castles, an online community that shares insider tips, hidden gems, and all the food and fun that makes Disney parks unforgettable. These guys are also here to help us with becoming your better expert. They wrote a great book called I Love Disneyland. We're going to talk about this and so much more on today's show. So, usually the first question we love to ask everybody is, how did your journey with Disney begin? You know, how did you, I'm going to use AJ Wolf's, how did you become a Disney adult? You know, how did this all start for you?
You want me to go first, Skylar, or you want to go first?
Yeah, you go first.
Okay, so I've always grown up out here in California. My family, we grew up close to the park. For my mom, it was important to her for us to have annual passes when we were young so we could grow up with the park. So ever since I've been young, I've had an annual pass for Disney. My parents, we alternated years, so we would never not truly appreciate the park. So we would have the pass one year, not the next year. And every phase of my life, I've had different things I'm interested in Disneyland, from being very young and trying to do as many rides as possible to where me and Skylar are at now, where we try to really appreciate the entertainment and the shows at the park. So today it's actually funny that there's lots of days that we go to Disneyland now and never actually go on a ride.
Yeah.
But it's interesting to see how the park's evolved. It's interesting growing up at the park, and it's interesting how our interests changed with the park, but there's still something for us there.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. I mean, I do have an annual pass, and there are times that, I never get on an attraction. It's just, there's a lot of things to do and see, and part of the entertainment is the people watching nowadays.
Yeah, indeed.
So true.
Watching somebody with their app trying to figure out, where am I in the park?
We try to help. If I see people struggling, we definitely are like, oh, if I hear people asking, oh, where's the nearest bathroom, talking in their groups, I'm like, oh, I can help with that.
Yeah. How to order food, things like that.
Huge.
So Skylar, how did your journey with Disney begin?
So when I was growing up, Disney was not a conversation. To me, Disneyland might as well have not existed. We did not go when I was a child. We didn't talk about it. It was not a thing. It wasn't until 2015 when Ry actually took me for the very first time. And at the end of that trip, I was like, man, I would really love if we could do this again. And he said, annual passes. And so it blew my mind, first of all, that there are annual passes that even existed, that we could keep coming back and doing this. And that sort of started our castles journey together.
Right. So then how did you guys get the spark? Hey, we should write a book about this place.
So, I mean, the book is actually a funnier thing. So, we've been making Disneyland content for a while on Sometimes Castles.
Okay.
The niche we've fallen into is sharing information about what's going on in the park. So people who don't go often can plan better trips, and people who are there all the time can see what's going on, what food is new, what's happening. And it's actually really interesting. We've had a lot of cast members contact us saying, thank you for what you do, because otherwise I wouldn't be able to answer as many questions for people, because there's so much going on at Disneyland all the time, and information's hard.
Right.
It was Adams, the publisher, that reached out to us that said, we've seen your content. We want to write a book about facts, trivia, information, about Disneyland, and it seems like what you do through Sometimes Castles makes sense. Have you ever thought about this thing? And Skyla, I think, tells the story a little bit better. She's always Skyla's very booky, and was very surprised that books aren't just written because somebody wakes up one day and writes a book.
Yeah.
That a publisher can reach out to you and ask you to write one was also brand new for me. And also, I thought that it was I thought we were being pranked. I was like, why would somebody want us to write a book that doesn't make any sense at all? Then obviously we got on the phone with them and they were real and they were excited about having us do this. And we were able to use everything that's been part of our Disney journey to write this book. So it was really cool.
Right. Part of the, I think it's in the subtitles, there's 100 surprising facts, fun quizzes, fan favorites, trivia. So, was there something that surprised you guys? Like, or you stumbled across like a fact, like, I didn't even know this existed, or you could do that? Or was there anything there that surprised you being frequent guests?
For me, it was some of the history stuff, specifically around Indian Village. There was a lot of stuff that I didn't know about that area of the park. And while we don't get to dive too deep into it in the book, I learned a lot, and there are nuggets of it in there, so that we got to keep.
Yeah.
And for me, I guess talking to people and like trying to dive into stuff, because like we know a lot about the parks, but like writing the book and fact checking and talking to like Disney super fans and people from the archives, etc. I didn't personally realize like what big of an impact the 1964 World's Fair made on not just Disneyland, but like theme park technology. So like diving into that, like I knew that Small World and like Lincoln had come from the 64 World's Fair, but I didn't realize like how much of an impact that made on like Imagineering and technology. So like that's something that I geeked out about quite a lot over the course of this year as we were working on the book.
Yeah. So like doing the research, what you mentioned the archives. Did you get to use the archives for some of the background information? Did you talk to cast members? Because I'm sure at Disneyland, same as our Disney World, some of people have been here since 71 when this was built. I'm sure. I know there's people that have been there since 55. I've seen the awards. Did you walk around the parks and like ask people or cast members, or how did the research go?
Yeah, we talked to cast members, and just being there as often as we are, the virtue of that is that we know a bunch of cast members that we just get to speak with, or they know someone that they can ask, or, you kind of get that insider knowledge. We were digging back through old videos that we had made, like during the Haunted Mansion. Was it the 50th anniversary, Ry? Is that right?
50th. The first video we ever made for YouTube was for the 50th anniversary of Haunted Mansion. So that's our earliest content.
Wow.
So we were digging through like how there was all of that concept art and stuff on the walls in the Opera House, right? So all of that. But then now for the 70th, Disney has a bunch of other stuff, old maps, and old pictures of Adventureland,
putting the park together. So right now in our Opera House, they have Imagineering documentation that's never been shared publicly.
Oh, wow.
About putting the park together. Like some of the original ideas that like the first concept of Disneyland was that park across from like that studio, the animation studio.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
And like, but all of the stuff for that and the evolution of all of that. Sorry, I didn't mean to talk over you, honey.
You're right. We're really excited about it. And it popped up at this really interesting time for us to be writing the book. So we were digging through all of that random stuff, everything that's on the D23 website, very old websites like Duchess of Disneyland, who's got like some archived stuff that is very old, and just sort of putting all of those pieces together was super interesting. And I think a lot about Walt Disney and a lot about the early days of Disneyland isn't documented well, right? And it's also a lot of tall tales. So there's some amount of like figuring out what is the fact versus what's the legend.
Some things like I think the Haunted Mansion, Pirates have a lot of backstory lore. And then how do you know if that's real unless you like really just go ask Tony Baxter, like, is this real about Big Thunder Mountain or is this fake?
Yeah.
Well, and some of those things have changed over the course of time too, as they
changed the
storylines.
Yeah. I think as movies came out, they kind of twist that back story to fit the movie and fit the attraction and put those those two pieces together.
One of my favorite stories, like we talk about Haunted Mansion, Pirates, and like story. I'm going to say it wrong, but like Jean Lafitte.
Jean Lafitte.
Okay.
So Walt Disney had 3 very specific books he gave to Imagineers when they wanted to put together New Orleans, and one of them was Jean Lafitte, famous New Orleans pirate.
Right.
And that was supposed to be the through thread that connected Tom Sawyer's Island to Haunted Mansion to Pirates of the Caribbean.
Okay.
Uh, and so they have this idea for this through thread character that at some point that storyline kind of fell apart, but there's still evidence of that. Like there's Lafitte's Landing is like the sign above you when you get on Pirates. There's
Mm-hmm.
Lafitte's Tavern is one of the POIs over there on Tom Sawyer's Island.
Mm-hmm.
There was a period of time where they were actually going to dig a tunnel from in front of Haunted Mansion
Oh wow.
to Tom Sawyer's Island, and there's still remnants of that archway uh, in the park. But it was this character that's supposed to be the through thread, real life pirate that like fascinated Walt Disney, and then at some point, because like Walt Disney's death and like connection to things, like it just kind of was left unfinished. But like I love the lore of these things and the things that could have been.
Yeah. Yeah. That is good. Very interesting. I think Don Hahn is doing a D23 Gold Theater about the Haunted Mansion, but I think it's primarily the overlay, the Christmas overlay.
Oh, yeah,
I think
yeah,
is what he's going to dig into, which will also be interesting. So
Yeah,
among,
that's cool.
yeah, so all the rides that you guys talk about in the book, was there something or ride that you felt like, hey, let's maybe concentrate about on this because it's kind of overlooked, like not everybody cares about it. It's the little ugly stepsister that gets put aside. Did you feel
I
like there was something that needed a little extra attention because you felt it was maybe overlooked, or people don't
I
give
think
the attention?
I think some about Roger Rabbit
Mm,
was unique and interesting. Rye found a lot about that stuff and how they decided to make that ride vehicle and the way that they tested
yeah,
that, I think was super interesting.
yeah, yeah. I would love to talk about Roger Rabbit. One of my favorite stories is uh, one of one of the artists that worked on that movie was mad at Bob Iger, and in the scene where Roger crashed into the billboard, he put Eisner's phone number on that billboard in the movie. But once the video got released, they took it out.
Scrubbed
Obviously,
it.
they found it and took it out. Otherwise, Eisner would have gotten phone calls.
I think late '80s and early '90s, like a lot of that stuff with animators,
Yeah.
like Roger
Mm.
Rabbit, stuff
Yeah.
with like Little Mermaid, Lion King,
Yes.
Aladdin, like lots of these little things the Imagineers are not like
And yeah.
animators and people
Yeah.
working on those films, and like not always super nice, but like
Right.
fun. That like this little secret, if you like, if you know kind of thing.
Yeah. 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 I've been trying to get Eisner on this podcast, and I reached out to his manager, and he said yes, he'd love to, but he promised Bob Iger that he wouldn't talk about Disney until Bob left. And I was like, wow, that's weird.
Maybe he
But
did leave.
he left, and then he came back, and I was like, oh my god, now he's got to leave again. So now I'm like, have this guy's email like all fired up, ready to go. It's in my draft, just waiting for Bob to. I'm done. Okay, and now send.
The first leave should count, I think.
I think it was valid. Bob was gone.
Yeah, it works.
Yeah. All right. So food is a big part of the Disney experience. There's got to be in the book you talk about like how Dole Whips came about. I know the stories of the Dorito too, but how did you find out about the whole history of Dole Whips and how did that all come about?
I mean, honestly, like a lot of it was diving in. So, like when we wrote our sample chapters, like we wrote something about like they wanted like what are these fan favorite snacks, and like Dole Whip was one of our like the things on our list. But
Right.
as we started writing stuff for like sample chapters, is like when we realized that like Dole Whip hasn't really been at the park for as long as you think,
Yeah.
and for us, like especially someone like Skylar who's only been going to the park for essentially a decade, some of these things like feel like they've been at the park for a long time when maybe they haven't.
Yeah.
So
Right.
I think these things that we consider fan favorite snacks. Now it's interesting to learn that Dole Whip's not as old as you think. Churros, like how some of
Yeah.
that stuff came together. Uh, yeah, I love the stuff that like feels like it has been around for a while that maybe
Mm.
hasn't been. And it's interesting for me and Skylar to compare notes because like I remember growing up with certain things, and
Right.
her on the other hand, like she doesn't have that baseline of like decades of experience and like
Yeah.
and the weird memories we have because like Mandela effect and like what we think was true maybe wasn't.
Right. Right. Yeah. Yeah. It's true because my girlfriend hasn't gone as long as I have been going to Disney World since '71. Been every year since '71. Actually, next year I'll be celebrating my 50th anniversary of going to the
Wow.
parks. There should be a button for like that. I've been here 50
It
years
should.
or something.
They'll just
Uh,
write
I'm
whatever on the I'm
celebrating.
celebrating button. Yeah, I'm celebrating my 50th
my
Disneyland
50th. Yeah,
anniversary.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I'll have to make myself a big T-shirt or something.
We often see Disney content creators will get that, like, celebrating, like,
Yeah,
100,000 followers or
yeah,
something like that and
right,
walk around with
Yeah.
that button in the
right,
park.
right. Um, so people that do trip planning and stuff like that, how do you think the book will help them? Whether it's their first trip or their 100th trip, what do you hope that some of the planners will take away from the book?
So we try to make the book, like, very accessible. So,
Yeah,
like, we don't, like, dive too deep into anything, and, like, in 200 and something pages, I think you get a pretty good idea of, like, Disneyland history and, like, what is going on in every land. So I
right,
think, like, someone who's trying to plan a first trip, I think the biggest thing is, like, information overload, that you
right.
don't really you don't know what you don't know. And
Yeah,
I think something like I Love Disneyland, what that does is, like, at least it gives you something to whet your appetite, where now
hmm,
you have this baseline of information about both history and current events at the park. And from there, like, you can kind of dive into the thing that you're interested in. Because I think, like, trips to Disneyland, like, you're never going to do everything in a day or even in a week at the park. But if you have intent, you can go do the things that matter most to you. And hopefully, I Love Disneyland helps people build a better baseline for that intent to go to the park and see what's going to be most exciting for them.
yeah, yeah. That's very good. Yeah. Um, you know, we were talking about not always going on attraction.
Mhm.
Are there things that people can do in the park? Because I feel that Disneyland specifically is more of a park because it actually has benches where we have none. Uh, that people could do in the park that are not attractions. Like, besides all the shows, there's got to be things for people to, if they're not a big ride person, what would you tell them to do? What would be the thing?
So I think one of the fun bits is all of the music that's usually around.
Yeah.
So on Main Street, with the Dapper Dans, but also you've got like the Pirate Band, New Orleans Square. You've got the Pearly Band that comes through Fantasyland, and I think
Mm,
that there's a lot of those things that you can see.
yeah.
Dance parties, and if you're not a ride person, that doesn't mean you can't still do things like the Mark Twain, which
Sure.
is, first of all, yeah, so classic and just a nice ride. I think Disneyland is very scenic.
Hmm.
I like to sit around. I
Yeah.
just I just have a sit and
Yeah.
I just take it in. It's so nice. Grab a coffee and a churro and just or a beignet and just hang out.
Yeah.
And the thing I'll add to Skyla is, like, a lot of our entertainment, like, characters are so connected to the entertainment. Like, you
Right.
see the Disneyland band coming down Main Street and they'll stop, and often, like, a character will come out and do some kind of interaction. Where I
Mm,
saw the Pearly Band one day by Small World for some reason,
yeah.
and Mary Poppins came out and, like, was dancing with the band. At some point, like, Aladdin and Genie come by, like, it was just a very, like, a moment that you don't expect. So me and
Yeah.
Skyla, what we often tell people when people are, like, trying to plan Disney trips, it's like, leave room for magic, because if you plan every minute of your day, you don't get those
Yeah.
moments in time that are, like, just so unique to you and your family. Like, how often can, like, yes, you can go on a ride in Fantasyland, it's kind of the same experience that you see on YouTube, but how often does your kids get to dance with Mary Poppins and Bert with a
Hmm.
band playing behind them? Like, it's
Right.
just such a so awesome, I think, that Disneyland has these, like, kind of like pop-up magic moments.
Yeah. And I feel I miss that. I miss that spontaneity. And for me as a kid, there was
Yeah.
no line to meet any character. They just
Yep.
popped out of wherever, whatever cast hole wall, just, and that was it. I mean, people just, you would go with your autograph book, you would take a picture and then just move on. There was no line. There was no, I don't know.
My brother for
Yeah.
Christmas a couple years ago converted old family VHS to digital for me,
Oh,
and, like,
awesome.
it's family trips from the
Yeah.
'80s. So it was
Yeah.
like a trip during Easter, and very specifically, there's a clip of, like, my mom trying to get a picture of me with Mickey Mouse and my dad with the camcorder recording. And yeah,
Yeah.
to your point, like, it was just madness, like kids pushing other kids out of the way with their autograph books and stuff. And, like, you can see my mom on the side trying to get a picture and trying to tell me, push
Yeah.
past them, get up there, like, get your picture. And, like, but my dad has that evidence of that, and it's just like madness. But
What
over the
I
time,
like is that
I
you
was like,
just sort
yeah,
of standing there in the video.
yeah,
You're
because I
just
didn't know
like,
what to do. Like, because as a kid, like, I was so polite, and my mom's like, push your way up there. I'm like,
This is
so
the
yeah,
one time I'm allowing you to knock
yeah,
them
yeah.
over.
But no, it's funny to have that on video, and it's funny to look back on that, like, because it's a family video that we didn't watch as kids, but to have that on digital now, like an Easter trip to Disneyland, it was just very funny to see, and to hear my parents like at that year, like, push your way up there.
Yeah. I am an expert in concrete, Disney concrete, because my father had the video cam and he would forget to turn it off. So most of the time it's pointing down, and I'm like, oh, that's red. We're on Main Street. Oh, wait, that's green. We're over. So I could tell the concrete. I could tell where we are by the color of the concrete.
Man, that's something we didn't get to write about. Was the foot feel of the concrete in your different lands? We did not get to write about that, but it is very real.
Yeah.
But on
real.
the flip side, like, it's stuff that people never recorded, and like if you know where that's at, because like a lot of the curbs have changed because they're trying to make things more accessible. Like my dad was the opposite with the camcorder pointing up. And we were looking at that. Me and Skylar, I don't remember Disneyland ever looking that green because there's so many trees like around the castle, around the hub, that those have been removed now to like improve views for fireworks. But like how green Disneyland was in like the 80s. And and to have that evidence on a camcorder footage, because again, like my dad was the opposite with just the thing pointed up for no reason.
Yeah, I was looking at an early picture of Walt Disney World, and you actually almost can't see the castle from Main Street because there were so many trees blocking the view
I
of
saw
the
a
castle.
picture very recently that popped up that was that, and obviously I never got to see it that way, but I felt it when I looked at that photo, like, oh no, actually the trees make such a visual difference in separating these things. And it looked it was beautiful. It's a shame. I understand why. Sometimes it's a shame.
Just recently at the Grand Floridian, one of the buildings, they took down a tree because they planted the tree in the middle of the building, and it's now taller than the building, and it's blocking the view of the castle. So I guess everybody's complaining,
and that's part of staying there, right?
I just can't see the castle because the tree's in the way, so they took the tree down.
You should have cut a little castle-shaped hole in the tree.
See, I always say that Disney fans have the better ideas. That the Imagineers, listen, just put something on Facebook, like, hey, what do you think about blah blah blah? Listen, they would.
We'll have so many solutions for them.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. I always say that there should be a rotating group of fans, not D23, but a rotating group of fans that you're like, if the Imagineers have a question, just you ask the panel of fans and let us give you let us give you ideas, and then after you're 3 months on the panel, you go away, and then another 100 people join. I don't know.
I made a similar joke to Skyla that, like, I think Disneyland in particular, if they're trying to figure out like how to move crowds around the park, they should just get a panel of like Disneyland live streamers, because Disneyland live streamers like understand like the flow of crowds around shows more than probably any Imagineer at this point, because they're like running between fireworks and parades and like going across parks to like World of Color and back again. Like they have to know the crowd flow better than anyone else. So why aren't people consulting them? Why not do a focus group?
Yeah, and I think maybe Disneyland more so than California Adventure, the walkways are a lot now. They didn't build them like 1971. They learned the lesson from 55. Yeah. So, the walkways are narrow there. But you guys still have park benches, so kudos to you.
We do. So many benches. And sometimes they just add more. And I walk by a place and there's so many benches, and I'm like, oh, where'd these come from? That's amazing.
Yeah. A bench in Disney World is a flat piece of concrete that accidentally happens to be there.
Yeah, Magic Kingdom seemed pretty egregious for that. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we put some concrete there. You can sit on that. That's fine.
You can sit on it. Oh no.
All right. So if you were given like one full day behind the scenes at Disneyland or California Adventure, full access to do whatever you wanted, to go wherever you wanted, what would you want to do or see or experience backstage? Or have you ever been backstage?
So I've been, little backstage stuff. Yeah. So I did, little backstage stuff. So we do the charity CHOC, Children's Hospital of Orange County.
Okay.
So every year that charity fundraising culminates in a walk around the park. So you get to do like a 5K and you get to go backstage a lot there. And then I was an extra on a TV show that was filming in Disneyland.
Oh, wow.
And we got to go, it was like the Tomorrowland Theater, which I hadn't seen what I'd only ever seen once. What was it, Ry, for like a Star Wars thing they did in
Yeah, they
there?
were like the Path of the Jedi when they were promoting the
Yeah.
new Star
Okay.
Wars movies. I
Right.
think that's the last time that's been open, like
Yeah.
public outside of like D23 filmings or
Mm.
But
showings.
even, yeah, there were like
Yeah.
old signs for like the Egg House door, which I thought was really fun because of that restaurant on Main Street that used to be called the Egg
Yeah.
House, but it still
Yeah.
said that. And
Yeah.
because we'd been doing all this research, I got to nerd out about that one quite a lot. So that's my backstage experience. If I could do one day though, I would want to do weird Disneyland urban exploration. So things that are no longer open to the public, like the creepy stairs where the Skyway used to be.
Okay.
Even back Tom Sawyer's Island, the fort. I
Mhm.
don't think I've ever seen that open.
Right.
I would just love to see weird stuff like that.
Interesting. You
For
right?
me, so there's a story that Kevin Feige tells. So Kevin Feige, when
Yeah.
Disney bought Marvel, he wanted to know these things behind like how different things worked. And there was one thing that Disney Imagineers would not let Kevin Feige know, and I would like to know what Kevin Feige doesn't. He wanted to know about the technology for Turtle Talk. How does the turtle? How does an actor or cast member, or whatever, feed into Crush, and how does he like see with the audience? How does he engage correctly? And then to go back to the chalk thing one more time, something that we learned working with chalk is that Children's Hospital of Orange County, they actually do one showing a week of Turtle Talk with Crush, that the screen is there at the Children's Hospital for kids who aren't healthy enough to visit Disneyland. It gives them a taste of Disney magic at the hospital.
Wow.
So whatever is working for Turtle Talk, they can, it's not just physically there at Disneyland, they can have that happen other places if the place is set up with the screen the right way.
It sounds like
Gotta know.
it's a turtle Zoom meeting.
Yeah, right. But like it's all the pieces. Like we're like Crush will come out and like he'll pick up a character of Buzz Lightyear. It's like, does anyone know what this is? Like all these different pieces that aren't just like it's a puppet somehow, and also like a voice changer, and like somehow like Zoom where you can see.
But you can see what people are wearing. Yeah.
Right.
So like how are they doing it?
Yeah. If I did the SoCal Adventure by Disney that does DCA behind the scenes, DCA Imagineering and all that. If you get a chance, do that. You learn so much about Disney in general. I mean, you go to Imagineering, you go behind the scenes at Disneyland and DCA. It's just like to see where they shoot the fireworks is really just a cargo container that's been fortified with extra steel so it doesn't catch fire. It's like fascinating. Meanwhile, ours is like a whole half a mile behind the castle. And
ours is just right there. Yeah.
It's like in the park.
In one of these Disney Facebook groups the other day, someone shared a picture exactly what you're talking about for fireworks, but with different like plastic over it. So like it was a day that the pyro team was knowing that it was going to rain, but it wasn't windy. So like how they would keep that all dry so they could do fireworks in the rain, and like just the information there. Like it's not rain that stops the fireworks. It's pretty easy to like protect that from that. It's the wind that's the problem for us.
Yeah. Interesting. What else was the so what are you wrote about Disneyland, and it does contain stuff about DC. Do you have another book in mind? What's coming? Do you have anything else planned besides this little guy?
So we'll see. So Adams wants to do like a Disney Parks series. And they want to work with content creators. So Dapper Danielle was signed for Disney World. Her Magic Kingdom book came out. And right now she's, I think she's finished primary writing for the Epcot one. Right now she's doing editing for that. So the idea was like a book per park. So for our book, like while we briefly mentioned Disney California Adventure, it's focused on Disneyland. There's the possibility that we do California Adventure. There's the possibility that Adam signs a different content creator to help with that one. We're so early in this journey right now that the focus right now is on I Love Disneyland. But we'll see what happens if a California Adventure book is maybe in our future in the coming months or years.
If you would like to see a California Adventure book from Sometimes Castles, please leave reviews on Amazon.
Well, see if they'll let you go, for a couple of weeks to a different country and do Paris or Tokyo or Shanghai or Hong Kong.
Immediately, yes.
Because I Hidden Mickey guy, oh my God, I can't think of his first name, Barrett. He's been to all the parks to gather Hidden Mickey information. And, he'll spend a couple of weeks there, and I'm like, who's funding that? And he goes, well, I do it because I have to. I'm like, you should have gotten your publisher to do that.
Yeah, get them to pay for that.
Should have.
What other
definitely.
parks have you been to, Tony?
I've only been to California, and
Okay.
here I've only been in the States. That obviously the bucket list is to hit all of them.
Of course, yeah.
There is that very cheap plane that Disney has that will take you to all the parks.
I know. If we win the lottery, there will be signs.
$50,000 per person.
Yeah, I'm into it.
Yeah, but the good part is there's a doctor on board, so I feel safe now. But no, I know people that have been to Tokyo, and Tokyo is always the one that rises above the cream of the crop.
Yeah, Disney Sea is big.
Yeah.
Big
Yes.
hit.
Yeah, and it's really because it's not technically, it's going to be like Abu Dhabi. It's not technically owned by Disney. It's owned by the Oriental Land Company. And I feel that those people will throw money at, they don't care. Oh, it's going to take us $2 billion? Fine. Here, go build it. Take whatever time you need. But we want the best of that, so. And it's going to be interesting because Abu Dhabi's got more money than Tokyo.
So much money.
So
I'm very interested to see how that comes together. Yeah.
Yeah. And I heard this stupid rumor that some of it, or even parts of it, were going to be in a dome because of windstorms, sandstorms, and the heat. And I'm like, okay, only they could put a Disney park in a dome.
In a dome. Yeah. The dome is real.
It'll be interesting to see. Like we've seen some stuff like this is a far left turn, but like Mattel Adventure Park, where like they're planning much of that indoors because like Arizona can get so hot.
Yeah.
So like it's interesting to see what they do with that kind of stuff. And like when you have these places in the world that are weather happens, like how can you protect that and like have parts of the park where people can enjoy year round?
Yeah. And sandstorms are real there, so I get it. You don't want to be standing in a park while sand is whipping at you at over 100 miles an hour.
And just the maintenance alone, I think, would be just very prohibitive.
Yeah, pulling sand out of Pirates of the Caribbean every day would not be fun. It's a sand ride now. It's a sand flume.
As Anakin would say, I hate sand.
Yeah. Yeah. I always think of the Sam Kinison joke. Sand. Okay, so tell me a little bit about your website too. Sometimes Castles.
Oh yeah, Sometimes Castles. Sometimes Castles. Our website is mostly for our merch, but Sometimes Castles, as a whole, exists on TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube primarily, and Facebook if you happen to be there. And it is largely Disneyland tips, updates, news, that sort of thing. Also cover other local parks. We cover Knott's Berry Farm too. Some Universal, some other special events in the area. So if you're around and like coming to Anaheim, we cover food and other things that we like to do around also.
Yeah, very cool. Very cool. A side question. Do you feel that the Olympics are going to impact Disneyland? Like make it horrifically overpacked and crowded?
Well, I don't think we're overpacked because we have the reservation system. So like with the reservation system, like because like we haven't like loosened that at all. Like there have definitely been really busy times we've seen at the park, and like I think the worst of it is sometimes that area in front of the parks.
Yeah.
Like it was about 2 months ago when they were doing Run Disney was like the most people I've seen in the Esplanade, like almost ever at Disneyland. But the parks, once you're inside, is fine. It's like when things are busy, like let's just say that like that impacts things. I think like downtown Disney or the parking lot might be busier. But I think once you're inside the parks, like or Disneyland, once you're past Main Street, because that's such a bottleneck, it's usually pretty easy.
Yeah.
But getting in during those busy times, I think will be harder.
Yeah. I just feel like, I don't know, they're going to crank that up to 11.
Yeah, they can flex the reservations as much as they want, right? They can always add more. And I mean, obviously, if people are coming to LA, well, I'm already there. I might as well go to Disneyland.
Exactly.
So it might even just be harder to get reservations or something. Oh my gosh, when are the Olympics? Hold on.
I don't know. I also feel like they're going to turn off VIP services because they're just going to be busy taking real VIPs around. the park.
I mean, yeah.
You
Oh,
won't
wow.
be
It's
able
going
to
to be
book
wild,
anything.
actually. Yeah.
Yeah. I was
Oh,
thinking
I
about
haven't
that.
thought
I
that
said,
far
I
ahead.
feel sorry for Disneyland. It's going to be super crowded. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
All right. So tell tell everybody where they can find you on the socials and where they can get the book.
Okay, yeah. So just one more time, so sometimes Castles, we share most of our content on TikTok and Instagram, so that's the easiest place to get a hold of us. We respond to Instagram direct messages, so if you ever have a question about things, like Instagram is the best place just to ask us a question. Uh,
Cool.
YouTube and Facebook are places where we have content as well. As for the book itself, most people have told us the easiest place for them to get it is either physically at a Barnes and Noble or online. Amazon's been very fast for delivery,
Hmm.
but anywhere where you get books. I love Disneyland's there. Just call your bookstore, make sure they have it in stock,
Yeah.
because I just don't want someone to drive to their bookstore and not have it there. But yeah, Adams has been awesome. We have great distribution for it in
Yeah.
and outside the U.S.
Yep.
Okay.
So wherever you're buying books, just give them a call and say make sure they have it before you make the drive down there. But if you're
Yeah.
looking for it fast, Amazon if you're trying to get it delivered to you, or Barnes and Noble if you're trying to find a copy at a store.
And we also have audiobook too. It's on Audible.
Oh, yeah.
So if you like the
Perfect.
audiobook, we read for it. So you get to listen to us for a few more hours.
Yeah. Oh, I love audiobooks. That's the best invention ever.
Yeah.
It was kind of a funny experience doing the audiobook because
bet.
we had a vocal coach with us doing that. Skyla was awesome. So we had 2 days in the studio, and each day she was done with her 1/4 of the reading, because we each read half of the book and half over the 2 days. So her 1/4 she was done in 1 hour, 2 hours. She was amazing. And for me, the vocal coach kept going back and forth about how to say things better. So
Right.
it was it hurt my pride a little bit.
You
but
did great.
Plus side is the book will sound better because we had that kind of help putting it together.
Yeah. I probably could not do an audiobook with my New York accent. They'd probably be like, dude, are you even speaking English? What is that?
Yeah, because I have different ways I say certain words too,
Sure.
and especially when you start talking about some of these landmarks in Orland Square,
Yeah. Nolans.
We might have said Jean Lafitte in the book, to be quite honest, and we said Jean Lafitte in this interview. So I don't know.
I won't correct you. You're fine. Either
Thanks.
way.
Perfect. Thank you.
Oh, gosh. All right. I want to thank you both for coming on. I appreciate your time. Please go out and get the book. It's not very. It's an easy read. It's a very easy read. And then you could do like I did. I went through all the quizzes first, and then I went through all the fun facts, and then I actually read the other content. So
Perfect.
I don't know why I did that way, but I always like the trivia and the facts things first. So
was there any quiz in there that surprised you, Tony?
yeah, there was a couple quizzes. I was like, I don't know any of these things, and I'm a Disney turd. I don't. What the hell? Yeah, there were a couple ones that stumped me. So yeah,
Good.
Yeah, it's good stuff.
I think it's a success to me if someone who loves Disney a whole lot still finds at least one new thing in the book.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. Definitely. I found a couple things. I'll probably go back and do more quizzes. I don't think I got through all of them. But yeah, it's an easy read, people. It's not that hard. And if you love Disney, you need it. Just like you need Dapper Danielle's for Disney World. They're companion
Big
books.
time.
Take them both with you. So
frequently bought together.
Yeah, you should. You should. Exactly. All right, we'll be looking for another one for California Adventure. That one will probably be more interesting. I know more, a little bit more Disneyland than I do California Adventure. So and since they tore the whole park apart and made Pixar Place and all that other stuff, I have not been there since then. So
it's changed a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's so different. So different since they did that reimagining, I think 2014. Yeah. We just last year we had the 10-year anniversary of the reimagining of California Adventure. And a lot of our money for Disneyland Forward is going into California Adventure right now also. So we were talking about Disney World construction. We're about to have construction for a Coco ride, Avatar Experience, 2 new rides in Avengers Campus. And Disneyland Forward is still working on plans. So I imagine that we'll probably hear when D23 comes around next year, even more about California Adventure progress.
Yeah, I do follow them. I do get the emails from Disneyland Forward, so I am paying attention to what's going on out there. It's very interesting. So
it is.
All right, thank you very much. We will see you in the parks, and thank you for your time.
Thank you so much.
Take it easy.
The Disney Parks podcast is not affiliated with the Walt Disney Company. All Disney parks, attractions, lands, shows, event names, etc. are registered trademarks of the Walt Disney Company.